Success is no accident. It's hard work, perseverance, learning, studying, sacrifice, but most of all, loving what you do. In this sport, you better love what you do because it does not get any easier. You only get faster. Thanks for watching Hook, Line, and Shifter. I'm your host, Bob McCarty. If you're liking the video, please click the subscribe button, share, and like down in the bottom. Got a pretty packed show for everybody today. First and foremost, I'm excited about this. ESI Grips and U-Cycling. ESIGrips.com. U-Cycling, Y-U-U, cycling.com. Discount codes are now available. 20% off. HLS 2025 through the website. Again, ESIGrips.com, YUUcycling.com. ESI Grips, I've been on them for probably 8 or 9 years. Absolutely love them. U-Cycling is the kits that you see that I'm in consistently. My team is in. So 20% off. Can't go wrong with 20% off. Everybody wants to save a couple bucks. So U-Cycling, ESIGrips.com. HLS 2025 is the discount code. Love the product, both of them. Please use the code. You'll help support the channel. Keep me doing what I love to do. Again, I said we have a packed episode today. First thing, we just finished FLE Round 2. That's the Florida Endurance Series at Markham Woods in Lake Mary. 60-mile course, a lot of sand, a lot of cornering. Actually had a time trial on Saturday and then the endurance race on Sunday. I got the win for the time trial on Saturday, third place, the endurance race on Sunday. Conditions hard, heat, hot, relatively a hot day for this time of year for us down here in South Florida. Lake Mary, Markham Woods and Lake Mary, what a fun course. You better know how to handle a bike and you better be prepared to push. Time trial on Saturday, had a great time trial, didn't really make any mistakes. One of the things about time trialing on a mountain bike off-road is to win, you are on edge the entire time. And what I mean by on edge, at any moment, I'm going to hit a tree. At any moment, I'm going to crash. Any moment, I'm going to slide out. You're running that edge of pushing the limits to try and get the best time. Got the win on Saturday. Sunday winds up being the exact same thing. You have to push the limits. You got to pace yourself for 60 miles. Yes, it was a 60-mile, 8 laps of this park. Pretty hard. I wound up getting a third that day. Matt Dawkins and Carlos Pacheco beat me. There was I don't have access to it right now, but there was a video we got interviewed after the race by Dave Berger of Gone Riding. Dave asked Carlos, when did the move happen? That because Matt and Carlos were together. So when did the move happen for Matt to get away from Carlos? Carlos said, well, about maybe five minutes to go at the end of the lap. We were turning, what were we turning? 27, 28-minute laps. About 5 minutes to go, Matt made the move on Carlos. Dave then got over to me and asked the same thing. Said, hey, Bob, when did the move happen? The move happened to me about 60 miles earlier once Dave said go. Matt took off. I was second wheel. I tried to sit with him, and I just couldn't do it. Carlos was third wheel. I made a wrong turn in the trail. It was a split lane. I took a left lane, which actually wasn't really a line. Kind of got confused with my bearings of where I was at, and Carlos wound up passing me on the inside. I couldn't go with him either. He got up to Matt. Two of them rode away from me. I stayed maybe 30 or 45 seconds every lap off of their pace, but I just couldn't do it. So when did the move happen to me? As soon as Dave said go, I just couldn't hang. I have to try and run my pace. That's one of the key things with endurance racing is you want to make sure you run your pace. If somebody's gonna crack you and they try to crack you early on, you're gonna have a hell of the rest of the day for it. If you can keep your composure, maintain your pace, you'll be able to have a pretty good day and be able to fight to get to the finish. Wound up with third that day. Course conditions, a lot of corners. I heard a rumor going around that there was 500, 600, 700 corners that we had to go through. Tight, twisty course. That dropper post of mine got used a lot. Helps me corner, helps my confidence. I don't really think it wears me out. Gets my corner speed, keeps my corner speed in line, and helps me maintain the consistent lap times. If you go on to goneriding.com and go over to the FLE series, Lake Mary up in Orlando, just outside of Orlando, you can see the lap times. I maintain a pretty consistent lap time. Unfortunately, not as fast as the two guys in front of me, but this is round 2 of a 7-race series. I know how to race series, stay focused in on the series and what I have to do. So chasing that number 1 plate. Had it 2 years ago, lost it last year. Lost it last year to Gilberto. Congrats to him, but I'm fighting because I want that thing back. That just happened 2 weeks ago. Great day of racing, great weekend of racing. Moto Monday. Let's talk about Moto Monday. Moto Monday is my source of training. One of my most favorite things to do. I pick laps that are just a couple minutes long, 5 through 10 minutes long. I have great training partners, and we hit this lap again and again and again. Generally, the workout is about 75 minutes. In the video, I did a different perspective from my handlebar. Hope you enjoy it. Let's see what that video looks like. Let me know if you enjoy it. In this video tonight, we were on the back side of Markham Park. I'm not exactly sure what the trails are called. I do apologize. But this is going to be a way for you to be able to critique or see exactly what goes into my head or my brain as I'm rolling through the trail. Again, perspective from the handlebar. Getting the camera set exactly where I want it and rolling into over a set of doubles right here, making a hard right hand turn, and then heading into, I believe this is called Route 66. Right in front of us, if you look ahead, you'll see that berm. It's a slight berm making a right hand turn. From here, I'm actually looking kind of down. It's a misconception about looking up the trail. Yeah, I know that there's a right hand coming ahead, but I'll look down for things inside the trail that are going to affect my ride. So heading over to that right-hand turn, again, I glance ahead, see that we have a left-hand turn with some pavers. I'm leaving soil, heading on to pavers. There is a slight hook about halfway onto the left-hander. There's a gap in the pavers, which I'm trying to use as a hook, hence hook, line, and shifter. Keeping that bike exactly where I want it, lean angle, body position, focusing in on that hook. Again, from there, we're heading up to a right-hand turn. Try to look around the corner. I know that I'm continuing to make a right, so we're heading up. This is a slight uphill. At the top of the uphill, we have nothing but roots, a whole section of roots. Just ahead of my front wheel is actually it's actually a little bump in the soil. With regards to that bump in the soil, I'll pick up the front wheel to try and roll over, try and get the front wheel to clear all of those roots, lay down some watts to the crank arm, get that bike up and over all of these roots. Front wheel's up in the air, heading off to the right. Another little cluster of roots. And what I'm trying to show here is just how much I'm reading everything in the trail. Looking at the trail, trying to decide exactly where to go, picking that line slightly to the right of that first route. And then off in the distance, I see that there's a mound. Before I get to the mound, I have to address the roots. Sorry for pausing so much. But right here, we have a mound, a little bit of a dip to another mound. If I can do it, practicing mountain biking, I'm going to try and get the front wheel up and off the first mound to drop just into that gap of the second mound. Drop into the second mound, going around the corner. Outside edge right there is a hook. Hook is a vertical surface that I can put the bike underneath and know that it's not going to slide out from underneath me. Dropping down some roots, dropping down a left-hander. Nothing but a cluster of roots in front of us again. I'm swinging wide here, a little bit wide, making a hard right-hand turn into this trail. It's a cut through, but it was part of the loop that I was trying to put together. Interesting. This part of the trail, there is that black line right in front of my front wheel. That black line is actually a loose stick. When you're looking up the trail, you can see that, okay, I'm making a right-hand turn, but I do have to address what's happening in front of the front wheel, that stick. I've said before that there's 3 types of roots, in this case a stick, but 3 types of roots: perpendicular to the front wheel, parallel to the front wheel, diagonal to the front wheel. Because of the turning radius and what those handlebars are doing, if I should run over that loose stick, I'm probably going to wash out the front wheel. On the fly, making a conscious decision about what am I going to try and do with that route. Decided to cut to the inside of it. Okay, here's another one. Finish that section, get over, drop down and making another right-hand turn. In this right-hand turn, I do have pavers off in the distance. Before the pavers, I have the base of the tree combined with a root that winds up parallel to the front wheel. I can try to swing to the inside, get the front wheel to the inside of the root, but instead of that, I'm going to go ahead and go to the outside of that root, use the base of the tree as my hook, that guaranteed surface that the bike isn't going to wash out. By utilizing that hook, it will also set me up to get onto the paver berm, the pavers as the berm the right way. Nail that outside line onto the pavers, heading up and over this mound, a slight sweeping right-hand turn, sweeping left-hand turn. Right here again, looking slightly around the corner, I see there's a tree at the end of the corner, but before all that, I have to address what's going on just in front of the front wheel. A little bit of a small root in the beginning. When I talk about my trail reading and line selection, if you look at this, you can clearly see the path that the bike wants to, or the suggested path that the bike wants to take. That tan line in the middle. In that tan line, I'm going to stay as low as I can, closer to the inside, knowing that my energy wants to drift out. I have trail to try and work with. If the energy drifts out, that inside line is the shortest distance around the turn. I'm making all of this decision before I've yet to get to the tree. I know there's a tree around the corner, but I have to address what's going on underneath the front wheel first. In the last video, I talked about that being lines, legs, and limbs. This is making sure that my line selection is correct. So go around the turn, up some pavers, and we're going to head into a section called Las Olas. Las Olas has a little bit of a kick into it, a roller mound to kind of a double with a little bit of a tabletop to it. Rolling over the mound, a little bit of a double right there, dropping off a root, going around a sweeping right-hander. At the end of this sweeping right-hander is the base of a tree, roots. That root off to the left side winds up being diagonal to the front wheel. I don't want the front wheel to wash out, so I'm going to cut it a little bit hard as I'm exiting this berm to run just to the right and hit that root that's on the right side and winds up perpendicular to the front wheel. Perpendicular root, you can just run it over. Like I said before, parallel root, you can pick one side or the other. Diagonal is the one that wants the front wheel to wash, especially if there's moisture in the soil. Staying off to the right side. Okay. Here's something that I've talked about in my videos before about the common line is usually the smoothest line when you're practicing avoidance. If you look off to the right side of the trail, you can see the common line. The reason that common line around the outside is because of all these roots that are just off the base of the tree. Those roots happen to be the fastest line if in fact you're willing to practice getting through them. Just at the base of the tree, there's one root that I'm going to bounce the front wheel off of and put it down at the end of the last root. Yes, it doesn't go right every time when you're first practicing mountain biking. So the suggestion with this is to not read a trail as far as how you can avoid everything. Read a trail as far as how you can practice mountain biking. So I'm going to bump straight up the middle, go down this. It goes to a sweeping right-hand turn, picking the inside line or the lowest line. Another right-hand turn, a right-hand turn to a couple of roots. Downhill to a left-hand turn. In front, you can see that there's a root off on the left side. I'm going to pick the right line. Because of the way the corner set me up earlier, I have to sweep to the right. Just on the front, just after you get through this is actually a root on the right, or a little bit of a stump on the right side that I'm going to drift off to the left to get around it. All right, ending Las Olas. We have an option here to go left or right. I'm going to pick going off to the right. Right here is a drop down. I'll pick up the front wheel and the back wheel to try and get it as close as I can to the top edge to create a pump or to create free speed, some momentum. So I'm hopping down over this, taking a left-hand turn, another left-hand turn going up to, I forget what this is called. Right here we have two options. We can either go straight or we can go off to the left. Once we go off to the left, you're going to see that there's another two options. Straight winds up avoiding all the jumps. And I want to practice mountain biking, and I enjoy jumping. So I'm going to go off to the left side right here. Right-hand turn. Pausing right here. There's another line off to the left called eviction. Much, much harder technical drop. There's one set of doubles at the end of the whole thing. We're going to stay off to the right side where there's a gap drop, followed by a set of doubles, and then followed by another double off in the distance. So right here is the first drop. I'm going to drop off this. In the video, if you look off to the right side, you'll see what you would be on if you were to take that other right line. So dropping down the gap, another double right in front of us. Once you have the speed, it's actually not that bad to do. One more double. Now we're heading into Outback. Going off to the left here. Again, focused in on my line choice. Off to the right. Now, right here, off in the distance, we had that slight gap. Not that slight gap. We had this right-hander with a massive hook on the outside of the trail. Again, I'm going to put those tires right underneath that hook to be guaranteed the traction to get the bike around the corner without it washing out, dropping the seat post and really carving the corner. Here we're going to make a left-hand turn and head up to, I believe this is called Upback. Pavers on the left. Clearly the line on the right is a smooth one because of the nature of the momentum you're carrying. It's drifting you off to the right side. Getting onto the pavers, out of the saddle, and just climbing this thing as hard as I can, knowing that at the end of all of it, I have a chance to recover. Sweeping right-hand turn, down the sweeping right-hand turn to a double that's going to be right in front of us. We have a double down. To the right is the smooth line. To the left is the double. The double's a little bit more fun. It's got a bit of a kick on the face of it, so be prepared to get your saddle to hit you in the ass on the way up. All right, out of that into a sweeping right-hand turn, sweeping left-hand turn, hard carve right-hand turn. I paused it right here for a reason. If you look just off the front wheel of the bike, you're going to see a line on the left side. It's actually a washed out rut. When you read the trail and you look up the trail and your eyes are so focused around the right-hander that you're about to make, you neglect to know exactly where the front wheel is at the time. When I dropped down that hill earlier, I knew that I was making a right-hand turn. I don't care what's around the corner for the right-hand turn. I care where the front wheel currently is at. That's what's called your line selection, the first L of lines, legs, and limbs. If you look off to the left side, you can kind of see a little bit of a sand line and an edge. That bike does not want to be there. I'm going to force the issue and put the bike to the inside of all of that. It's going to set me up into the berm a little bit more square than I want to be, but I'm more concerned with that entry on the left where the bike would want to wash out in that sand. So I'm going to go ahead and cut to the inside. Another hook there, right-hand turn here. Heading up all this, bunch of roots to deal with. More roots, more rocks, dropping down all this, still focused in on my line selection. Right-hand turn around the corner, dropping down, coming across a wood berm, dropping that saddle a lot. Right here, as opposed to going up, we're going to go ahead and make a right-hand turn, cutting the trail short because the loop that I wanted was 5.5 or 6 minutes long today, and I wanted to get to specific sections without spending so much time in other sections. Moto Monday, multiple laps that are shorter so I can practice mountain biking. Go ahead and making that right-hand turn, another right-hand turn. In front of us, there's going to be a split, going to stay right. Once again, we have hooks off in the distance. I'm going to focus on utilizing those hooks so the bike doesn't slide out underneath me. Dropping down, straight line. Here's one of the things that I refer to frequently. Straight into that corner. This, where the bike currently is, there's actually a bunch of roots to go down. You can practice avoidance, go off to the left side, avoid all of these roots, and then go into the berm a little bit more square and have to hang a hard right. Or you can drop down, practice those roots, deal with what the bike is going to do, and it's clearly going to set you up straight into the berm. If you look ahead into the berm also, you're going to see that there's a hook, an outside edge that I can put the tires under. Hopefully there's a theme going on right now about my consistently looking for hooks. Hook, guaranteed, vertical surface, guaranteed that if I put the bike underneath it, it's not going to wash out from underneath me. If I know the bike isn't going to wash out from underneath me, I'm going to be a little bit more aggressive with my cornering, carrying my corner speed through without having to worry about sliding out. Left-hand turn, at the end of the left-hand turns, another right-hand turn, hooks, left-hand turn again, followed by another right-hand turn. Going to go up a small route up, hop up. In this gap, there's actually a route on the back side of it, which I'm trying to go to so I don't have to have those tires run into the roots. Every time your tires run into the roots, it's trying to slow the bike down as well as make the trail a little bit longer. If I can keep the bike up and over these roots or nice and light, it doesn't slow me down. Right-hand turn followed by a left-hand turn, more hooks. Gonna go ahead and finish this trail out. Right up here we got a little up that we're gonna deal with, get over those roots. Left-hand turn, there was a washout in that corner also. Going up all of this, taking a left-hand turn and dropping down. All right. Heading into, I forget what this one is called also. I do apologize for that. A little bit of a climb out of the saddle climbing. Going to take a sweeping left-hand turn followed by a tight right-hand turn. The next feature of what I'm going to try and deal with. Just off in the distance there's going to be a line on the left or a line on the right. The line on the right you have to try and overcome these two routes. But if you look at the first route, there's actually somewhat of a transition to help the bike go in the air to clear the second route. You can hold a straighter line. You don't have to worry about pedal strikes. On the left-hand line, you got to worry about pedal strikes because you do have a ledge on the left where your left pedal can catch, or off on the right side. The same thing. Your right pedal could catch if your pedal stroke isn't correct. Much easier to practice going up. The problem is when you read it, you say, I don't want to go there. For me, I want to practice mountain biking because in the event that I don't have the smoothest line to try and run, I want to be able to rely on my skill set to get me through whatever it is that gets thrown under the bike. Right up that, a little bit of a drop down here, followed by an uphill to a right-hand turn. another right-hand turn onto some pavers, taking a left, and then we're up top. Next thing we're going to see is going to be a double down to a right hand. We're going to go to a double down that's going to be thrown over to a right hand hip jump. I like jumping, like playing around on the bike. The double down is actually pretty easy to do because of the momentum that you have dropping into this from the left. Once you come out of the right hander, you'll come off the hip. It's a berm. If you hold the berm a little bit higher, it winds up being a hip jump to a landing over to a double. All right, so right here is the double down. A little bit of a bump in the first paver. It's going to help you get over the gap. Dropping down. Off in the distance, we have the hip jump. I'm going to take that a little bit higher so I can clear the hip jump. Double right-hand turn over a wood bridge and holding a straight line through all of this. A little bit of a route you have to go up to. A sweeping left-hand turn out of this left-hand turn. We got a double off in the distance right here. Pretty much a fun double to a left-hand turn to a roller. And then off on the right side was the end of that lap. That's Moto Monday. I hope you like the perspective of it. Gives you a different way to read exactly what to see exactly how my mind works for Moto Monday, for reading the trail, practicing mountain biking. Hope you enjoyed that. If you do, put in the comments below that you like that perspective or you like this take on it, because I'll try to continue to do it. So we're gonna do more of these every week. Hope you enjoy it. Thanks for watching. All right, hope you enjoyed that. Pretty cool, different perspective. Last two sections of hook, line, and shifter. Two things that I love to talk about. What's in your water bottle? Get the question all the time. Bob, what's in your water bottle? And Woodda racing. We had some good ones at Markham Woods last weekend. What's in your water bottle? Number one, dedication to riding. I cannot be passionate enough about this topic. You have to be dedicated to riding. You have to find a way to enjoy it. There is no downtime. There is no coming back if you want to be successful. You have to put forth the grind, challenge yourself emotionally. This is a very emotional sport, and physically. Challenge yourself emotionally and physically every single time you ride the bike. Consistency, getting up, wanting to train. Number two, countless miles. Countless miles, day in, week in, month in, year out. Countless miles. You have to ride your bike. What's in my water bottle? Miles. A whole lot of miles. I train on average anywhere between 250 to 350 miles per week. This particular week, I'm going to crack around the 400 mile mark because I'm trying to get ready for our next event. Miles. And number three, I think I've said this one before. Never give up attitude. Never give up attitude. Pain is only temporary. You're going to get through it. How do you deal with it really dictates the difference between being successful on your bike and not successful. And by the way, you can relate a lot of this stuff just to daily occurrences in your life. How do you handle stress? How do you handle pressure? Do you shy away from it, or do you go in and tackle it? Go in and tackle it. So what's in my water bottle this week? Dedication to riding, a hell of a lot of miles, hell of a lot of hours, and a never give up attitude. I am going to fight right up until I cross that finish line. I'm fighting for every pedal stroke, every position, every ounce of energy that my body has. And it starts with learning to fight while training. Make race day your fun, easy day. Make training your hard days. Okay. Next one. Woodda. Love this one. Woodda racing. I would have done a lot better if. So Wood Racing at FLE Round 2, Markham Woods, Lake Mary, Florida. Number 1, I don't like sand. Okay? You don't like sand. Number 2, way too many corners. Mountain bikers, guess what? Corners are part of mountain biking. Way too many of them. Welcome to mountain biking. And this one actually absolutely floored me. Again, none of these were said directly to me. I don't think anybody's talking to me about this stuff anymore. I'm just listening to what's going on around me. Number 3, man, it was hot. Yep, it was hot. So guess what? For this Wood of Racing this week, if you did like the sand, if you were okay with the corners, and it wasn't hot, you're not guaranteed to have done any better than you actually did. Own the process, own the results, own your training, fight to get better week in and week out. Don't make excuses. If it's something you're not good at, sounds to me like it's something you need to practice and get better at. So what's next? We have Alita this weekend for the Coconut Cup Series. And then next Saturday is the annual 12 Hours of Santos. I'm really looking forward to this one. Really looking forward to sharing a video about my preparation for it. It takes me about 3 hours of food preparation. I'm going to do a whole video on that next week. I think my record is 161 miles, somewhere around there, 159, 160, 61 miles. I've yet to beat that. I need to get one more lap in. It's going to wind up being 172 miles. I've yet to beat that record. I've done about a dozen of these races. I'm trying so hard. My support staff is constantly doing calculations to help me try and get this final lap in. I can't work any harder. That's the bottom line. I'll be the first one to tell you, I cannot work any harder on the bike. I have to work smarter on the bike. Hopefully this is the year to do it. 12 Hours of Santos, February 15th. Come out and support the solo guys like myself. It's a 3-hour, 6-hour, 12-hour team and or solo competition. The reason I say and or, even though I signed up for the 12-hour, I have to compete in the 6-hour because it's part of the FLE series. Check out goneriding.com. You can see all the details about the event coming up next weekend, Saturday the 15th. I hope you enjoyed the video. Again, one more time, thank you to ESI Grips, esigrips.com, ucycling, yucycling.com. Please go on to their website, use site-wide. Use discount code HLS2025 to go ahead and get yourself 20% off any products that they have. Again, great cycling clothing and great grips. Been with them for a long time. Thank you for watching. If you do, like what you see, keep me going with this. Click the subscribe button, the like, and share. Once again, thanks for watching Hook, Line, and Shifter. I'm your host, Bob McCarty. Have a great week of training. Never give up attitude. Push down on those cranks. Cherish your family and friends and the efforts that you put into this sport, and you will be successful.